Okay, this is Rich Noir, representing Cash Feelings. Today, I'm here with someone who, I can't remember when exactly the first time it was that I came across your music, but I feel it most likely was from a freestyle, like probably, a freestyle I seen online. And from then I knew you could spit. So I started like following you. I followed the journey for a couple years. And then we actually got the chance to meet at the Nip store, Marathon store.
Yeah, in Cali.
Rest in peace when we were in LA, we bucked. We did like a little impromptu photo shoot, some Toronto love shit,
Yeah, that was love. You guys gave me the sweater.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and from there, I've been following your journey musically, seeing the growth, got to see you release like a full-length project. So happy to have you today on the show, my guy AR Paisley.
Appreciate it.
Love. So I know we talked even a little bit off camera about just the fact that we don't want to have a typical conversation when we're having these conversations. We want it to be meaningful. But again, for the random people who won't know, we're going to paint a little bit of a baseline.
For sure.
And then we'll get into the shits. So, were you born in Toronto? Talk to me a little bit about where you're from, just to start off.
I was born in Sauga. So, my whole life, born and raised in Sauga, same place, Paisley. And like, been there for a minute, not just me, the whole family, my grandpa. So I'm like the third generation there, same street,
Really?
So I was born in Sauga, born and raised in Sauga. That's where it all started,
So
started freestyling there and shit.
You said like you're from your grandparents. So what was it about that area that you think that attracted your family and kept your family? Was it like a cultural thing? Was it? What was it?
I think it was. So first, they when they immigrated, they went to Toronto, and they were on this street called Emerson.
Okay.
And then they were carpenters. So like my grandpa came with his bro.
Yeah.
He had 3 bros. So it was them 3. They came. They were all carpenters, and then they were building homes and shit. So I guess one of their boys was like, "Yo, there's some new builds in Sauga and shit." And then they were actually building like where it was. They're like townhomes and shit.
Yeah.
So they were building on the project and they got it early. They're like, "Yo, this is a sick spot." So then the 2 brothers, they just bought the 2 houses, So we all grew up. I grew up in the one house and all my cousins grew up in this house.
That's crazy.
There was like 35 of us in 2 houses,
That's a unique experience though. Most people don't get to be that close to like family members and cousins, especially in one concentrated area. So describe to me, because that's such a unique experience, describe to me a little bit about like how that household, I wouldn't even say household at that point. That's like a fucking, I don't even know how to describe that. How was that environment growing up in Paisley, in Sauga, with all those people around? How would you describe like I don't want to ask the vague question about childhood, but what was your immediate household like first? So what was where do you fall sibling wise and all that kind of stuff?
It was good. It was me and my brother. I'm the youngest out of the 2, and then what was it, like 8, 9 cousins on that one house, and then there's like 10 cousins in the other house, and then the other brother lived like up the street. So there's like, fuck, bro, I don't even.
So you guys just going back and forth, place
to
place type shit.
There's like 20 of us.
That's dope.
It was just good being like family oriented. It teaches you a lot. Like no matter what, you're always gonna have these people,
Yeah.
And like different music playing in the house, so many different age groups. It's just like you get to soak in a lot,
So you said that your grandparents immigrated. Where did they immigrate from?
They immigrated so they went from India to England, and then they were in England, and then from England they came to Canada.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
That trip that way.
That's why there's so many of us everywhere,
Yeah. So growing up in that environment, what were some of your early hobbies in that household? Like what kind of kid were you? What kind of stuff were you doing? Were you a gamer? Were you sports? Like what?
We were in sports. Like all of us are in sports, to be honest.
What kind of sports were you playing?
We played soccer. So we were nice, to be honest.
Yeah? Like competitive soccer?
I always say I would have made it to the league, like if I,
I played competitive soccer too early. Like I used to travel and all that shit. Like.
Same. What team do you play for?
I wasn't even here. I was in London, Ontario.
Okay.
So I used to play for like competitive league out there called London United. But we used to travel states here, like all that kind of shit.
Yeah. So you know how it is.
Yeah.
I always like to talk shit, like I would have made it to the league, but it was fun, fam. It was like, it was good. Like it kept me out of shit for a bit,
When did you stop playing soccer?
I stopped playing in grade 9 once I went to high school, and then
me too.
You know what I mean? Like you just start getting caught up in other shit.
Like, I didn't want to run around that much. I wanted to do other things. Like
I was a goalie too, so I wasn't even running. I was just playing. We would travel a lot. We would go on tournaments and shit.
But you start prioritizing different things.
My bro kept playing for a bit, but I was like, fuck this. Like I don't really see anything in it. Like I don't wanna. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to practice every fucking day. Like, I don't want to go to these tournaments. And then, I just started doing other shit. And I was like, oh, fuck this, man.
So you're playing soccer. That's like your main focus in your childhood. You come to high school now. Now, what kind of kid would you say in high school? Were you like focused on school? Were you distracted kind of kid? Talk to me a little bit about your high school.
I wasn't really focused in school, you know what I mean? I didn't even finish high school. So I dropped out in grade 12. But in grade 9, I already knew, like, I wanted to make music. I just didn't know how to go about it, you know? So, like, I was at school, and then I would leave. I was doing other shit, you know? I was hustling, doing all of that. And then I would leave to go to the studio. But at that time, it's just like, you're going to the studio, I'm just rapping, you know? Like, in high school, I just, fuck, fam, just doing a lot of rap battles. That's how it started.
So before we even get into that battle shit, because I want to get into all of that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Before you said you're rapping in high school now, but when did actual hip-hop music come into your life?
Early, fam. Early. I would say, like, 2004, 2003, you know?
How did it come into your life? Did it come from a sibling or what?
From my bro, for sure. We were watching, so Much Music used to have those countdowns. So we would watch it, you know, here and there. He just like left the TV on one day. Yeah. And I always say this, I seen the Ludacris Get Back video.
Yeah, I heard you say that before.
You know what I mean? I said that in the We Love Hip Hop shit.
Yeah, I remember. Shut them up.
And as a kid, I'm like, fam, like what the fuck is this, you know? And I watched the video and I was like, yo, it's crazy. Like the big arms and all the superficial shit. So then from there, I just started watching the countdowns more and more, you know? And like whatever was popping at that time, like the Kanye West, Ludacris was popping. There was also pop and shit, like Gwen Stefani. That whole era was when I was like, yo, I really fuck with music.
But what made you go from this is cool, this is dope, like looking at it to, yo, I can do this shit? What put that in your brain?
I would say like I was memorizing a lot of the lyrics, you know? So I'd be rapping along to a lot of the music in the car and shit. And like if I go back to, because we used to take home videos in the crib, you know? And I was always that kid rapping the songs. The song's not even playing, you know? I'm just fucking running around.
But you have it memorized.
Yeah, and I had it memorized, so I'd be rapping these verses. And like a lot of Ludacris verses, a lot of fucking Eminem verses, you know, Jay-Z verses, Kanye West verses. So like when we'd have, because there was so much family, it was always like, oh, what are we doing? Oh, it's somebody's birthday, blah, blah, blah. So we have those videos on tape, and I'm just always running around rapping. Yeah. So I think before I even knew, I knew like.
There's something about you that like made you want to
drawn to it, yeah.
recite. So when did that transition from reciting to writing? Like that's what I want to know. When did you actually write your first rap, and how did that come? I
think so. I used to just rap other people's verses. So what I did in like grade 4 and 5, I would rap like a Big L verse, and I wouldn't tell mans it was Big L's. You know, I just act like it was mine. You know, I was like, I was saying some foul shit, and like to like somebody that's like 8 years old, they're like,
the fuck?
And I remember this one day vividly, like we're on the field and I started rapping these bars, and the kids are going crazy. So I seen what came with it. I'm like, oh shit, like, you have that crowd control, you know? And I think that was a memory where I was like, yo, I want to do this. And then when I went to high school, I remember my bro bringing me, and he's like, yo, there's a guy in his victory lap, like grade 13, and he was a rapper. And he's like, yo, this guy's a rapper. Like, you know, he's the guy. Like, yo, go battle him. You know, as a youngin', I was like, nah, chill. Yeah. You know, we're at lunch and shit. And he's like, nah, go. He set it up, and he was like, I was already in the middle. I was like, oh, fuck. So I was like, fuck it, let's go. And I started I just started rapping, you know, started talking about what he was wearing.
Is that the first time you actually used your own lyrics?
It was one of the first times, still.
Like, really early in that, like.
Yeah. Like, I would write like a 1-2, but I wasn't that serious. But it was just off the top. Yeah. So I was in that position. I was like, okay.
The pressure's on. Like, fuck it, I'm just to do whatever.
I'm a niner, you know. I'm against the oldest.
That's a lot of pressure though at that time, no?
Yeah. It was pressure. It was just when you're young though, you're not really taking it in.
You're not thinking about it too much.
So I just did it. People started going crazy. I was like, oh fuck, fam. Like, maybe I have something here, you know. And then it would just go into like, oh, this is the other rapper. You gotta battle him now. Just that high school shit.
So it became a thing.
Yeah. So I battled him, and then a new kid came like a month later, and he's like, yo, I'm a rapper. Like, who's the best rapper in the school? And I had to battle him too. So then I battled him. That one's on tape too. 6 Buzz posted it.
I think I've seen a couple of them, but I don't know which one is which.
I'll show you after. It was just at the back of the school, and like taking it in now, I'm like, dog, it was like a fucking movie, bro. Like half the school was at the back of the school. The principal came out. You know what I mean? And then like it transitioned from that to like now, like I remember one time we were in the cafe and there was like a mic hooked up. And man, then would just be like, yo, let's rap, fuck it. You know, I took the mic, started rapping, you know what I mean? And I just dropped the mic and cut. So I just remember like always being like, yo, I really want to do this. So I transitioned from rap battling to like, all right, let me try going to the studio. And
recording. So talk to me a little bit about your initial studio setup. Because now you say, okay, I want to actually put these lyrics, see if I can do this over a beat and construct a song. How did you actually get into your first studio? What was that setup like?
I remember this one guy reached out to me and he's like, yo, we're doing a cypher, like a Mississauga cypher. And this was when I was just rap battling. So I was like, all right, cool, like send me the beat. And I wrote a verse to it. And then I did the cypher, and the guy that like organized it, he had a home studio. So then I was like, oh fuck it, yo, let's record, because we recorded the cypher. So I recorded the cypher in his crib.
Yep.
Then we shot the video or whatever, and then so I just started going to his crib, like in the basement, and he was a producer, so he was knocking out beats. I was just rapping to them. That was like grade 10, I would say, you know. So I made like a mixtape in grade 10, and I just started like, you know.
What was it called?
It's called Artillery.
Okay.
If you know, you know. Like some people will remember it if they knew me from back then. So I ended up dropping Artillery, and then I even did like a 1-2 show in high school, like low key, you know. Yeah.
How are you even releasing music at that time? Because what year is this? Was this like actual physical copies and shit?
We had some physical copies, but it was mostly like SoundCloud.
Okay, so SoundCloud era.
There's a thing called Bandcamp.
I remember Bandcamp.
So we did both of those early, bro. Like, I can't remember what year it was. I know it was in grade 10 though.
What was the reception like from that tape?
It was good, like for the high, because you know when you're in high school, you know the other high schools and shit. And like in high school, I used to play ball, so like when we would go to other high schools to play ball, they would know, you know, like, oh, this is the guy that raps, whatever, the rap battles, the music and shit. So it was mostly just a Mississauga thing, like, you know, you're from Saga, you know, okay, there's a rapper, he goes to this school. So it was just like word of mouth, and then I remember taking it down. I was like, fuck this, bro, I'm gonna take it down. You know, as an artist, you're always conflicted, like.
Was that like, as you felt you were getting better?
Yeah.
And you felt this is not my best quality of music that's out there. I don't want people to think this is what I can do type shit.
Exactly, yeah. As an artist now, though, I've grown to learn, like, you're always going to feel like that.
And it's a part of sometimes it's better to show that growth.
Yeah. One thing I realized, I think, as an artist is that, like, before the fame, before the money and all that, I think the most important thing is your story, you know what I mean?
There's value in that.
And you don't realize that when you just start out.
No.
But when you get older and, like, I feel like I'm drawn to more rappers that I look at their story and I'm like, aside from his rapping abilities, aside from how he could spit, like his story is just sick. Like Eminem, you know what I mean? Like coming from the trailer parks to what he did.
Like if Eminem deleted all that footage of the battles and the fucking early tapes.
Who would he be?
Like,
He would just be a white boy rapping crazy,
exactly,
you know?
right? Like that's a big part. Seeing that growth is sometimes even more valuable. To be like, yo, nah, look where he came from. Like,
Facts.
look how his shit used to be. But I think like everyone gets caught up in that. You'll see everyone delete their whole Instagram as soon as some shit looks like a little bit outdated or a little bit, but it's like
overthinking it and shit.
Overthinking shit.
I think I've grown to the point where I'm like, you know what?
Just let it live.
It is what it is, you know?
Yeah, 100% let it live. So I know you said you got a lot of positive feedback, but I'm assuming in a high school setting, there had to be some people that were like, who the fuck does this kid think he is?
For sure.
Was that part of it too? Were there some people that were like, yo, you're wasting your time, you're not fucking 50 Cent, or whatever they were probably saying to you in high school or whatever?
I think it's crazy, like the first place that I experienced it, not with my close family, but like meeting cause being brown, you know, like being Punjabi, like we were taught to like, yo, you immigrate here, you're going to school, like you gotta be a doctor, you gotta be a lawyer, you gotta be a teacher, like we're not coming here for no reason type shit. You better just, you know what I mean? So like, that's why I feel like when you look at like anything creative, you know, there's not a lot of brown people, you know?
No. Because
they're always pressured to take the other route. So like, early on I felt that from like family, like, yo, what are you doing? Like you're not taking school seriously, you know, you're making music. That was the first time I was like, it's my life, you know, this is what I want to do. Like I feel like it's possible. And then obviously like social media, you see the comments and shit, you see like people hating, and you really, I think the more you think about it, you take in like the biggest artist in the world. You could be the biggest artist in the world. You're gonna still see comments about that person, like, yo, regardless of who you are. You could be doing the best shit. You could be doing charity work, you know?
Doesn't matter.
There's still someone trying to get the top comment, like, this guy's a goofy.
Facts. Because they want their reaction, right?
Yeah. So I took it, I'm like, yo, no matter what I do, no matter how far I take it, there's always gonna be like the people out there that are like, fuck it, we don't like you. Which is fine. It's like, yeah, all right.
It's part of the game.
Yeah.
But you said you dropped out in grade 12.
In grade 12,
correct?
Yeah.
So like you said, coming from a household of immigrant parents, they all have that fear that like their child won't be able to support themselves or reach their full potential. They want to see you do something that's a little bit more structured, be a doctor, do something with like a discipline, right?
Yeah.
When did your parents eventually, did they come to a space where they were able to give you that space to do your thing? Or is it still kind of a struggle where they're kind of getting it now? Like when did that ever happen where they kind of understood what you're doing? And if so, when did that happen?
I think that like, at first it was obviously like, all right, let him do his thing. He's young, you know? Like when I was in like grade 9 and 10. But then as it went on, we had our issues, you know, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. But when you live with someone, you really see their day-to-day habits, you know? And I think my mom really just took in, my son's hustling. Like, he's really, it's not like he's just saying he's a rapper and he's going to do this other shit. Like, she sees the work I put in, you know? So she like, I can't complain at all, you know? My mom's very supportive of what I do, so.
Dope. So let's get back into the battle thing a little bit, because it's interesting. A big part of your story, I guess, would be the rap battle shit, right?
Yeah.
And then even doing a little bit of my research and just seeing shit online, I know you actually did like King of the Dot.
Yeah.
Like you were battling, like in a
Yeah.
battle league. So was your plan to ever become like, I want to be a battle rapper, or were you just battle rapping because you just felt like you could do it? Like, explain to me how even that King of the Dot thing happened. How that transition from battling in high school to, I'm going to go on King of the Dot.
I think I always wanted to make music. Like, being a rap battle, like, personality was never really what I wanted to do.
It wasn't your end goal.
Because I always looked at, like, I would watch rap battles, but those weren't the guys that really, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's the rare case that one of those guys that really takes it far, you know? But I just liked it, like, for the sport of it, you know, like, going in. And then so how I did KOTD is they were doing a tournament. And it was like an 8 to 10 man tournament.
Like the Ground Zero, whatever that shit was called? Like
No, it was before that.
Okay.
It was before that.
Okay,
and then, so I was 15 at this point.
Okay.
My homies were like, yo, there's a King of the Dot tournament. Like, yo, you should run it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, fuck, where is it? It was in Hamilton. So I'm like, all right. I called one of my other homies. I'm like, yo, fam, there's a tournament. You want to reach? He's like, yeah, fam, I'm there. Because he's a rap battler too. So then we went together, and I think, like, what was the payout? Like $1,000. But as a 15
For the winner of the whole shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a 15-year-old, I'm like, I'm gonna get this. Let's go. So I did the first battle. I won. Then I ended up battling my boy in like the next round, and then I beat him. So I ended up going to the finals, and then I won the finals. So I won the $1,000. I was like, oh, bless. And Organic and Gully, they were all like, Bishop, you know. That's how I met them. And then they gave me the 1,000, and it was so fucked, fam. This was like my first experience with KOTD, you know. I beat the finalist.
Yeah.
Organic looks at me, he's like, yo, we got a surprise for you guys. He starts laughing. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, all right, now you're going to team up with the guy you just beat because we have DNA and Sharon here. And I'm like, what the fuck? Anybody that knows rap battle, you know DNA and Sharon, they're serious fans, you know?
Yeah, and they were ready. They obviously knew about this.
They were watching every single battle.
So they're just building up fucking content.
And then they tell me now, and I'm like, fuck.
Did you feel like you got set up?
I got set up hard. I'm like, what the fuck? I beat the guy, and now I'm on his team, you know?
You thought you were about to walk away your cash, my night's done.
I'm good, yeah. And so then they're like, all right, this is what it is. I'm like, fuck. I'm looking at the guy I'm teaming up with. I'm like, oh, this guy's whack. You know, I'm looking at my.
You're like, we're
these
cooked.
guys. I was like, so before it even started, I already knew. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, we lost, you know? So long story short, they cooked us. They cooked us. It's on camera, all of that. I can't even look back and watch it, but it's part of the story, you know? I was like, fuck, fam. I was shook. Like, being 15 in that scenario, I couldn't even think of bars. Like, I was like, fuck. I was just so caught up in the fact of, like, I'm battling these two heavy hitters. Like, what do I even say, you know?
Yeah.
And they're coming with, like, stupid bars. Like, shit, I'm like,
Of
oh,
course.
man.
That's they're fucking trained to do this.
Yeah.
And they've been watching you the whole night, picking you apart.
they
Knowing they're
had
going to do it.
They had everything ready.
Of course. That's fucked.
So then I did that.
Yeah.
Fuck, fam.
Did you ever go back to King of the Dot after that? Or what was it?
Yeah. So then I left. And then Gully, shout out to Gully, he's from Saga. So he reached out to me. He's like, yo, fam, let's get another battle going. So I'm like, all right. This was like the next year. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, give me whoever. I don't care, you know? And then I still remember this, bro. We pulled up, and like I was like, bro, let's put some money on it. Like, let's go. Like I go to the guy that I'm battling, cause I asked Gully, I'm like Wagwan. He's like, nah, it's just a battle.
Was it judge battles?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was judge. And I'm like, I go to the guy, I'm like, yo, bro, let's put like 1,000 on it, you know?
Probably didn't have it.
He's like, nah. He's like, nah. I think he said yeah first, and then he was like, nah, fuck it. So now it's cheese. I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, whatever. We did the battle. The battle's still on YouTube. People still bring it up to me, you know?
Yeah.
Fucking, I said some shit in the third round. Everybody's going crazy. This and that. So I did that battle. That was the last battle I did, I think.
You won that battle.
I won the battle, yeah.
And you didn't battle again?
No.
Is there a reason?
Honestly, I think it was the money thing that was like the closing. Like, I'm not making any money, you know? I'm like, fuck, fam. Like, it's fun to do. First of all, I'm not making money. I think the biggest thing was, bro, it's just negative, bro. It's like,
they're just talking shit.
It's like, all right, if I become a rap battler, I'm gonna have to be sitting in my room writing bars about the next man every
That's
time.
your
I gotta
livelihood
sit down
now.
and be like, this guy's a bitch.
Did you ever have a worry that, yo, if I do this too much, I'm gonna become a battle rap guy?
Sure.
And then to transition from battle rap to artist is way harder once you're known as a fucking battle rapper.
No one wants to take you serious.
Nobody. So was that part of the thought process?
Yeah. Of like, yo, I don't want to be stuck in that category.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And I've been feeling like that recently too with the freestyles. It's like, it's the same thing almost. You don't want to be put in, you freestyle too much, you don't want to be put in the category of like, oh, this guy's just a freestyle rapper. I'm not trying to listen to his songs.
Yeah. That's a real thing though, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to so the transition I'm making now is like, I got so much music that I don't drop. It's like, fuck it. I'm dropping everything now.
But that's kind of a weird position because I feel like at the same time, especially like your fans appreciate those freestyles so much.
For sure.
But then
that's the hard part.
That is the hard part because at the same time, and you probably enjoy doing that because you're just getting your shit off. Like as a rapper, you just want to get your shit off sometimes. You don't want to fucking go to make a hook, bridge. Like, you just want to get your shit off sometimes.
Regardless of if I don't post it, I'm always gonna freestyle.
That's just part of you.
Always, but I just don't want to be put in that box of like, oh, yo, this is a freestyle rapper. And like, eventually once I get to where I want to go, it's like, yo, you can go back and see me freestyling when I was like 12. Like there's videos on YouTube of me like freestyling for like 8 minutes and I'm like fucking 12 years old, you know? So it's like, that'll always be there, you know? There's this, one of my boys, his name's Ali Gaddy, and he makes music too now, but he's in like the R&B lane. And me and him used to like freestyle for like 30 minutes straight and just record it and put it on YouTube, you know? There's still a video of him beatboxing and I'm rapping. So like that's always gonna be there. Now it's like I want to transition into shooting videos, big like mass-produced videos and like dropping albums, and, you know what I mean? Selling sweaters and just becoming more of like a household brand, you know?
And that's one thing that I even wanted to bring up. Like, one thing that I even noticed just following with you, and especially when I linked with you guys in LA, and just from our brief conversations, is that you guys have a solid, like a team setup, which I feel like a lot of rappers in Toronto don't have that. Like they don't have a person who, this is your task, this is your task, this is what you do, and this is what I do. And if we all do our tasks to the highest possible ability, that's how we grow. Why was that so important for you to have that? Like, how did you even know that was important, and how did that team form?
I think that like early on when I was making music, I was hearing a lot about the labels and label situations and how tough it is to drop what you want to drop, you know? And when it comes to like making music, I like to kind of be in control of my music, just because like, as an artist, you know,
personal.
Like, it's a reflection of you at the end of the day, you know? And so I just kept hearing bad things about the labels. So I was like, yo, how can we do it without them, you know? And like seeing Nipsey's blueprint was a big part, and just seeing like how Mac Miller did it and certain shit like that. I was like, yo, I gotta build a team somehow. But then I took it, I'm like, if I build a team, it has to be people that I trust. I can't just be working with anybody, you know? And like being young, you know, you're just around your homies and it's like, yo, if I want to do this, like obviously they want to do this, like let me put people in a position to like help me, but at the same time, it's going to help them too in the long run, you know?
The more you grow, the more everyone grows.
Start a career and shit. So we built like a team, like an in-house team, and it's just everybody that we know. It's like everybody that's on the team is like somebody that was like my homie before this, you know? So like my bro helps me like with the management shit. And then my boy Diallo, Booba, he does all the other management, like the music management, shit like that. He's on top of everything, like uploading my music and shit. And then my homie Hamis, he does like the creative direction. He like directs videos. So now I was like, yo, I need more. So now I got my cousin. My cousin's 2 years younger than me. I'm like, yo, you gotta produce. I'm like, yo, you got it. Because we grew up in the same house, right?
Yeah.
So he was the same way with the music, brought up in the same way. And like, I'm like, fam, you have a good ear for music. He's a young kid, but he likes that older rap. So I'm like, yo, start producing. So now him, majority of the time, I would say like 70% of the time I'm working with him because I want to build that sound. So then we have him, and then I have like a couple more of my homies just like doing stuff in the background, and like, you know, soon enough, everything's going to come to the surface. But I think having a team is hella important, especially if you're independent.
Yeah, but like, it even speaks volume to just yourself as a person, how much people believe in you. For anyone to sacrifice a minute out of their own day to collectively work towards one person's goal means that they believe in you as a person and as an artist enough to put their own shit to the side. Because I always tell people, like, if anyone ever asks me to manage them or stuff, I'm like, I don't know if I can prioritize someone else's time over mine right now, so I don't want to even do that to you. But that's literally what a manager is. It's kind of putting someone else before you. So you have to have so much belief in this person, which speaks to your talent and your drive. I want to talk a little bit about, because we're going down the timeline, right? So you're battling, you stop doing the KOD stuff, you start recording, I'm guessing again, new music. What kind of year? Is this like 2000? What kind of time? I want to paint the timeline a little bit so we can kind of go through it. Is this like a few years ago?
When I started like really taking music serious?
When you started taking the music serious and like, or actually let me ask a better question. What was that, was there a specific song that kind of garnished a new fan base or made people really know about you? Did you have one of those or was it a slow build?
January 1st, 2018. So 2017, I was in a period of like, yo, let me really take this serious. And I was going to the studio, like all the money I had saved up, it was on studio time. Like I was like, fuck it, I gotta invest in this if I really want this to pop, you know? And then 2017, I was just like going to the studio all the time and I made like a project called Screwface. January 1st, 2018, I dropped a video, first day of the year, so 2 years ago. And that's the song that, I dropped a video for One of One, my bad. I dropped that video and that's the song that was like, when I dropped that, I just seen like bare people like commenting and more people were reaching out to me because it was one of my first videos. And then I remember I was talking to my boy and I'm like, yo, where do we go from here?
Did you feel pressure to come back hard now? Like, yo, we have to come back with some shit?
I mean, yo, at that time it was all so new. It was like, yo, what are we doing right now? You know,
Yeah,
like that's just
you didn't even know this kind of feedback was gonna come.
exactly. So he was like, yo, we have these pages, like let's get these pages to post it. And this is when like 6 Buds had like 70K, you know?
Yeah.
6 Buds had like 70K and like we reached out to them, they posted it. And then that's when I was like, I seen like the jump, the followers. Like at that time, you know, I had like 2,000 followers. It jumped like 300 followers. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
People are fucking with it. And then Toronto rappers posted it. Same thing. I was like, yo, people are really fucking with it. They're feeling it, especially in the city. So then I think 2018 was like the era of the new Toronto. Like there was a lot of transitions. It went from, oh, you're a noisy placement, like getting on Complex. Like that was a big thing before.
Yeah.
It kind of transitioned to like, oh, you're getting posted on 6 Buds. Like, oh, you're getting posted on Toronto rappers. Like,
Good point, yeah.
These guys are fucking with you.
Yeah.
It kind of like transitioned into that era. And then like, I think 2018, like a couple names were like, okay, this is kind of who's buzzing. And then I think that's when I was like, okay, people are fucking with me. So the record One of One for sure was like the first one that like
got the ball rolling a little bit. What did that feedback from people, like knowing that people are fucking with something that you made and you created, did that give you a different type of motivation than you got from doing the battle rap and shit? Was that like a different feeling?
For sure. Way better feeling. It was like people are really bumping the music in the whip, like, you know what I mean? Like people send me videos bumping it in the whip and like it was just more motivation for me to be like, all right, I gotta keep going now because people are really feeling it, you know? It was definitely a better feeling.
Who were some of the early people or people in general that reached out that were kind of already doing their thing a little bit more than you, or a little bit more established, that showed you love?
At the time, it was a minute ago. I'm trying to remember now. I mean...
Or just in general, people that have reached out like since that kind of were doing their thing out there like before you.
A lot of rappers have reached out since that, yeah.
Or then who are the early ones then, I guess, if you can't remember?
The organic, like, the thing is, you know when the love's like organic and it's just like, yo, they genuinely
It's not for a feature, it's just like, yo, fucking what you're doing, done now.
Yeah, like when I met Jigsaw, it was just straight, it was just love, like right off the bat, we just clicked, you know? He came to the studio, like the
How
first
did you guys
time,
even link up? Because that's one of my things I want to talk about. I want to talk about how you and Jigsaw linked up, because I feel like that's like a theme. I've seen you guys do multiple like things together on tour. You brought them out to a show somewhere, like
New
in the
York.
States, New York or some shit like
get
that.
into that
So
too.
how did that relationship even begin?
So the first time I met him, I was at a studio, and he's like, yo, what you saying, fam, blah, blah, blah. I was at a studio, I was just drinking, like I was just chilling. There's a couple people there, and I was like, yo, I'm here, pull up. And it just so happened, he knew the producer that was there, he knew the studio that I was at. He's like, yo, I'm on my way. You know, because before that, he was just showing love, we were just showing love back and forth.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck it, I'm on my way.
So you were fucking with his shit too before that, yeah.
We were just going back and forth. Because he was rapping too, like he did the freestyles and shit. So I was like, oh, you have bars? He's like, yeah. And this was like around the time he was like trying to transition into a different sound. Because he was like kind of rapping still and shit.
And he was still getting into his melody bag a little bit back then.
He was transitioning as an artist. And then, so he was on his way. And then my boy Rolly was there and he played the beat. He played the Costa beat.
That was the first beat
That was the first day I met
Who's
him.
that? That's Kevin Rowley?
Kevin Rowley, yeah.
Dope.
And Phantom. They both made that beat together. I laid down one long ass verse, and it was like both of my verses that you hear in the song, it was just one long verse. I just went in and I rapped it, and then he came, and then he's like, yo, walk on, what you saying, blah, blah. I didn't even show it to him. We just started drinking. We started talking shit. Like, we're just laughing, just shooting the shit. And then I played the record, and he's like, yo, this is sick, whatever. He's like, let me try something. And then he went in the booth. He started humming, and it just came like naturally. He just said the hook.
The hook is not a joke.
Fam, but this is the craziest part. He did the hook. We're sitting there. We're like not even thinking anything of it. Like we didn't say much, bro. He did the hook, and then the video guy was there. We shot a video.
Shot a video same night.
Yeah, same night.
Oh, shit.
It was just one of those nights. You know, you look back on it. Like,
fuck it, let's do it right
fuck.
now.
Yeah.
Let's do it right now.
You know, you're drinking. You're just like,
yeah. Yo, might as well, fam. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yo, put the camera on. Like, yeah.
That's what it was. And then he did the hook. The craziest part about it was like, we didn't look at the record as like, we made the record like, I did my verse in like 20 minutes. He did his hook in like 15 minutes, you know? So we were looking at it like, it's all right.
Like a freestyle thing, like whatever. It'll do what it does, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, you know? I called my cousin. My cousin makes covers too, made by Saj. I'm like, yo, I need a cover for this joint. We just made it. Sent it. He made the cover. And then I ended up leaving to go to LA. That's where I saw you guys. Mm-hmm. So this was before Kasha. I'm in LA, and then I do a show. I do a show with like some artists from Toronto, you know? Okay. From Brampton. Yeah. I do that show, and then they asked me, they're like, yo, you should come on the rest of the tour with us. And I'm like, oh, fuck, fam, what should I do? I call my bro, I'm like, yo, what do you think I should do? He's like, yo, just do it, fam. So I packed for a week. I ended up going on tour. I'm like, yo, everything's ready for the record. Just drop it. I'm calling my boy. I'm like, yo, just drop it. The video's ready. The cover's ready. Just put it out there. Like, whatever. It'll do what it does. It might not even do nothing, you know? But I told Jigsaw, I'm like, yo, fam, I'm going to drop that. He's like, soft. Bro, we drop it. And like, yo, you know, as an independent artist, you don't get that much playlist support. No. Unless you're really sending emails and just connecting.
Or you have a connect that can get you that look. Yeah.
We don't have the connect. We don't have nothing. We just drop it.
It's organic.
We dropped it. First couple of days is kind of doing this thing. I wake up one day, it's like, yo, Hip Hop Central placed it. Northern Bars placed it. Like 2-3 other playlists placed it. I'm like, I called Jiggy. I'm like, yo, Wagwan, bro, what the fuck is going on? Did you do this? He's like, nah, I've never been on those playlists. So I'm like, fuck, fam, this song's going, dog. I'm like, it's my highest stream song still now, you know?
Really?
So like, we didn't think anything of it. It's just crazy to think like, yo, you might have a record. Like I might have a record in the stash that's like, I think is whatever.
But you don't know how the people are gonna take to it.
You never know.
Nah, I won't lie. I didn't know that was. I knew you guys. I think I heard you say that maybe you guys shot the video same night, but I didn't know that was the whole process. But when I seen that clip drop, I think I heard your verse. I'm like, okay, guys, that was a solid verse. Mm-hmm. And then when I heard the hook, I'm like, holy fuck!
It's just complete. Yeah.
Yo, fam, the way he wrote that shit, like that beat pause, he wrote that perfectly, fam. Like,
and he still says, he's like, yo, that was the first song that. He told me, he's like, yo, that was the first song that like made me get in that bag more. Because now you listen to his music, it's the same type of...
That bounce was different. Mm-hmm. That bounce was very like...
And the way the auto-tune hits and
jiggy,
everything, like,
you know what I'm
he found the pocket.
That pocket. Yeah. You could hear it because the pocket was so perfect. And I'm like, nah, this shit's gonna go. I from the snippet you guys posted, like, this shit's out of here. So, shout out Jigsaw, you don't know.
Yeah,
so, I want to get a little bit into the song Letter to the Labels. Because we're talking about building your own independent team, how important that was, like watching people like Nip, and like being an artist coming up, you kind of learn those lessons through other people's interviews and like storylines about like why not to sign, or what's the benefits of signing, and you hear those horror stories of people that are signed to the labels. So explain to me a little bit about what inspired that song and the video concept first.
I think... So I had a homie that was going to meetings. He was already like at this point in his career, he was already up. But I was just chopping it up with him, and I remember him telling me, he's like, yo, I went to LA. I'm like, bro, how was it? I just wanted to know. He's like, yo, I went into a meeting and they told me they'll give me this much upfront. They'll do this for me. They'll move me here, but they want 85% of streaming revenue. And I was like,
what?
At that point, I'm like, bro, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, what are you talking about? I thought he was joking. You know? I'm like, shut up, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he thinks it's a joke thing.
And he's like, bro, I swear to God, these guys looked at me. They said 85% of streaming revenue, I'll get 15. But they'll give me this bag up front.
The bag up front.
You know what I mean? They'll pay for my travel. They'll pay for my stay everywhere I go. They'll put me on tour with this person. I'm like, yo, they can give you everything in the world. Fam, your music is like, you know what I mean? Like, you work so hard on your music to be like, all right, fuck it, take 85, you know? So when I heard that, I was like, I was tripping out, bro. You know, it was one of those things I thought about it for like a good week, bro. was like, fam, like, this is the industry I'm in. Like, this is what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the logistics of everything else, but it was like, yo, they want a piece of merch, they want a piece of touring, they want a piece of everything.
Everything. It's a 360.
Yeah.
They're only giving out 360s unless you've established yourself to some crazy point.
So we had that talk. He's like, yo, I just got to build the leverage a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to have the leverage.
So that conversation in itself is what
inspired
it. You know, I remember my cousin made that beat, Lazy Eye. He sent me the beat. He sent me a pack. And then, same thing with that beat. He's like, bro, I thought that beat was shit. I remember hearing that beat. I'm like, oh, man, this is sick, fam. And I was just having one of those days, like, fuck, bro. You know, like, I'm not making enough guap. You know, like, this shit's pissing me off. Something at home's pissing me off. Like, why is all of this happening? What's the point of all of this? Like, is it worth it to be a rapper? Blah, blah, blah. And then that's when the first line, like, I work way too hard to be this poor. I said that line, and then it just started. When I write, I get into, like, a sense of flow, you know? A lot of people ask me, like, what's your writing process? And I just can't really explain it. It's just, like, it's not, I wouldn't say I black out, but it just comes, like, naturally. I don't know, I'm just
like
writing.
once you get that first line off, it's like your thumb just goes.
Yeah. It's not every time, but, like, when I have a good song, it's like I'm just, just coming out, you know? So that's how I did that. I just wrote it, and I remember listening back to it, and I was like, yo, this is, it's powerful. It's more than just like a club record you could bang out to. It's like, yo, it's one of those songs that makes you think, you know?
Have you entertained any label meetings? Have you got any label interest at this point of your career?
Yeah, I have. We've gone to a couple meetings, and I've grown to learn that, like, yo, labels aren't that bad, you know? They're not. But it's just business at the end of the day. It's like any business. They're going to want to get their best. Like, you know what I mean?
Trying to get their biggest return on your investment.
So when that was after I dropped the record, I just took it in. I'm like, yo, it's just, at the end of the day, this industry is just business. Can't get offended at like somebody saying, yo, we want this much because we know how much we're worth. It's like, we got to do the same thing on this end. We just got to be more business minded. It's like, okay, how do we build the leverage to go into these meetings to be like, yo, I don't want to be that artist that's just, you tell me what to do, and if I don't do what you want me to do, you're gonna be shelved, you know? I wanna be like in the position to be like, yo, I know I have a fan base, I know what they want. If they want me to maybe experiment with my sound, cool, but I kinda wanna have majority of like creative control, and then like, you know what I mean? But I took in like the label, being on a label is not too bad, because they have the infrastructure, and at the end of the day, they have the connections to, like, say you want something in a video or you want a feature. You know what I mean? They have everything at the tip of
Yeah, it's kind of a give and take. Like, I feel like with a lot of artists, especially like, I think one of the interviews that stuck with me, I listened to an interview with Steve Stout, and he has like a new, like a venture he does where it's like, you sign to him and they give you all, like, they'll get you on the streaming playlist, they'll get you on all this shit, but they don't own none of your music.
United Masters.
Yeah. So something like that. I feel like something like that's valuable only because what he was saying in his interview was like, a label will give you a bag up front, but what artists don't realize is that labels have like an average interest rate of 21% return. So like a bank will, like, that's like illegal. If you're doing it in a bank, it would be legal to have that much interest on the investment. You're not even allowed to do that. But the music industry will tell you, we're gonna give you this 100K up front, but we want 21% return on our investment. And you have to make that money back even to see a cent. So I feel like it's a fucked up situation because a lot of people that want that bag up front don't really look into the details and don't give a fuck about the details. Like, whatever, I'm a signed artist.
I mean, for some people, I feel like they get people when, before they sign, they're struggling. Like, you know, they don't have the
That's why it's best to go into it with the leverage. If you go into it with very minimal leverage, you're gonna get fucked regardless.
You're like, yo, you're just thinking, yo, I have, because certain people, they're in positions where like, yo, they need money. Exactly. So once they jump at the first thing, so you can't even blame that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just they're like, fuck it, I need the bag, I'm signing this, but they don't take in how long they're gonna be locked in for. They don't take in that, like,
how much money you gotta make before you recoup that loan they gave you, because it's a loan.
Yeah.
It's a loan. You can go to the bank.
It looks pretty, like, I'm getting this much, but
that's basically what the moral of the story is, the glorified loan. You can go to the bank and get a small business loan for 50 racks. They'll give you like a 6% interest rate. The label's giving you that same 50 racks at 21% interest rate. So why not go get a small business loan? You know what I'm saying? Like that type of shit. But I don't dwell on that too much. I want to talk a little bit about touring and like your fan base. Because one thing I noticed about your fan base, and I don't know so the reasoning behind it exactly, but let's say, for example, do you feel like having a different ethnic background than the average rapper gives you a different fan base that the average rapper might not necessarily be able to tap into?
Definitely.
And how does your team, or how do you guys maneuver through that space without losing like let's say not losing the average Toronto fan, but you know in a different market you have a fan base based on, you might tour with a guy from Brampton who knows, hey, our fan bases might align, let's go on tour. So how do you maneuver that space, and what makes it different with your ethnic background?
It's a hard question, but because we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
you know?
but
we don't want to get boxed into.
It's a unique situation. That's why I asked. Yeah.
I'm not even complaining about it. It's a good. It's like
no, it's not. It's not a problem.
It's It's different. It's like when you're. I feel like there's kids that are brown that look at it and they're like, yo, this guy's doing it. Like, this is sick. So they already are there like, yo, I'm a fan.
They're hip hop fans and they're like, yo, but he looks like.
But yeah, exactly. They're like, yo, I relate to him more because, you know what I mean? Like same culture, same upbringing, I guess, whatever it is.
Yeah, of course. That's
but then there's certain people scrolling on Instagram that won't even listen to the bars. They'll just look at me and they'll be like, all right, I'm gonna look past it. Just because, whatever, you know? Whatever the case may be. So it's like there's pros and there's cons, but I think regardless in the long run, like music will speak to you like, whether it's right now, like I could drop a song today, you might overlook it, but a year or two later, somebody's gonna be playing it and you could listen to it then and take it in then, you know? So it's like, I'm not gonna dwell too much on like who's overlooking it and who's really gravitating towards it as long as I'm making progress, you know?
True. So regardless, kind of like you're putting your music out, whoever gravitates to it, it's love. Like it doesn't matter where it comes from. If it happens to come from people who look like you, that's even better because you might inspire a next kid who might have said, I don't know if I can rap. You know, I'm a brown. That's kind of my parents might look at me weird, and they see someone like you who does.
They can show their parents like, yo, look,
like
he
did
doing
it.
You know,
he's just like us.
But I already see it. Those are like, there's a lot of them just buying sweaters, and it's, you know, I see it on Shopify. I'm like, okay, sick. I can see where a lot of the love's coming from.
Yeah.
But it's like there's still other races that are really fucking with me heavy. But it's like they got through to like, all right, this is the music. Because I always see online too. It's like, yo, this guy looks like this, but I never see like, yo, you sound like this. I would rather be like, yo, tell me who I sound like and how critique my music rather than like,
what I look like.
Yeah, but it plays a part though.
No, but it is. It's kind of like you can't fault someone. It's like saying Cardi B's gonna have fans who are Spanish. Of course she's gonna have fucking fans who are Spanish because that's her people.
And
like,
regardless,
it only makes sense.
My bad to cut you off, but regardless of the fact, like, I would never try to hide like where I'm from or who I am, you know, because in the long run, I'm looking at it as like, yo, you watch a lot of movies, you know, and like there's a lot of Indians that might play the taxi driver, you know, or like the convenience store owner. But it's just because that's the stereotype of what we are in the like entertainment industry. But it only takes like that one person or like that one person inspire like more of us to come together and like break that stereotype of like, oh, he's in movies now, but he's not just playing the taxi driver. He has like a role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that like that's a huge pro to like being where I'm from is like I could be one of the first people to come out in the industry and like really do big things and inspire people to be like, okay, yo, we could do it too, you know?
Have you tapped in yet to like cross promoting with like I'm kind of fucking ignorant to the genre, but like maybe like more Punjabi style or Indian style music? Have you tapped into that lane? Because that's a market that's kind of...
It's a big market.
It's a big fucking market.
The way I look at it,
I'm Guyanese, right?
Okay.
So I even grew up like watching like Indian movies and shit. Even I went to Guyana, like I know like,
there's all types of races.
All that shit. Like, I know about all that, so I know about that lane, and I know that's like an international kind of market that's not untapped, but there's a section of the world who doesn't understand it, and there's a bigger section of the world who does. So would you do crossover records like that, or are you open to that?
I'm open to it, but I just didn't want to do it
like too early.
This early in my career, you know. The way I look at it now, though, like seeing that industry is like the way Spanish music is really it's like popping in America, you know, because there's so many Latinos in America. It's like the amount of Spanish people they have in America is the amount of like not just Punjabis but like just brown people in general that we have in Canada. So I look at how popping, like it's on the Billboard charts and shit like that. I'm like, this industry, like that industry has the potential to do that, with like the right people behind it, and like because there's so many of us, you know.
Crazy,
so
man.
They're gonna hop onto it. They're gonna listen to it. It could get on the billboard that way. But I definitely think that like in the future I could see myself doing it. Maybe just like depending on
if it made sense,
whether
and
the
song was
record's
right.
good. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, shout out to Sidhu Musiala. Like he took me on tour with Big Bird and Malton. And
Who's that? The Brown Boys?
Yeah.
I seen you post something. I think I seen my nigga Hunter Watts.
Yeah, Watts
does shit
fucks with them too.
That's
Yeah.
family. So I seen. Were they the people who brought you
On tour,
on
yeah.
the tour and shit? Because
Yeah.
they have their own international, I guess, kind of fan base outside of Toronto
They
and
have a
shit too,
huge
right?
fan base, and I took it in when I went on tour. It was like, so I was only supposed to do the LA show, and then out of love, they're like, "Yo, come to the rest of the tour. Like, we'll get you situated." They talked to the promoters. They got me situated. Like,
Dope.
they put me in a blessed position. You know, that's why I always have endless respect for them.
That's love.
So then from LA, they already left. I remember this like it was yesterday, bro. Like I was in the telly and I was just contemplating, like, yo, should I go? Like I only have a week's worth of clothes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, fuck, fam. These guys already left on plane. There's just one guy with the equipment and the whip, and he's gonna drive from LA to San Fran. And I'm like, fuck, fam, should I go? He's like, bro, I'm scooping you right now. Like, let's go. So I'm like, fuck it, fam. I go
One of those
downstairs.
fucking moments in life. Like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do
Bro,
this
should we
shit.
take this? And I go downstairs.
Yeah.
This guy's like, I don't know what he's on, bro. I don't know if he's on some shit. Like, he's just high out of his mind. Fam. Not just weed, though. Like, he's on some shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, like, how long's the drive? He's like, yo, 6 hours, dog. Just get in. And there was one of those moments, like, fuck, fam.
Do I get in this car, right?
My suitcase ready in the whip, dog. I'm like, all right, fuck it. We get in the whip. We go to the gas station. We get, like, fucking big-ass energy drinks, dog. Like, this big. Because it was, like, 3 in the morning. So, I'm like, yo, we got to make a 6-hour trip. Both of us on no sleep. Energy drink this big, rolling papers, chips, get in the whip. I'm like, yo, let me drive. He's like, nah, I'm good. I didn't even want to drive low-key. It was a huge whip, too.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's America. I don't even know, you know? He's like, don't worry, bro, I'm good. So I'm like there. I'm trying to do my due diligence. I'm just talking to him the whole way so he doesn't fall asleep or some shit, you know? But I remember getting like 2 hours into the ride. And anybody that's made the drive from LA to San Fran is like one highway, just goes straight.
Okay.
So the whole drive was straight. And like 2 hours into it, the sun was rising. I'm looking around, there's fucking mountains. Like anybody who's made the drive knows it's fucking beautiful, man. Like big fucking open water and shit. I just remember sitting there like, yeah, I made the right, like for sure, this is the right
I'm supposed to be
decision.
here right now.
Like it was just one of those moments. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
part of my story, you know?
100%.
Yeah, so then that's how it happened. Got to San Fran, slept for maybe like 2-3 hours, did the San Fran show. Fucking dipped, went to Sacramento, did the Sacramento show.
Did doing that tour, not to cut you off, sorry. Did doing that tour make you realize you had fans you weren't aware of?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I went to, it was like a hit or miss depending on the city. But I remember we went to Sac, and Sac was sold out. And like I was performing, and when you're performing, you're kind of like, and it's not your show, I wasn't really looking at the crowd too much. I was just looking past it, doing my thing. But then I'm like, yo, I hear people saying my music, you know, saying my lyrics. And then at the end of every set, I'll cut the music off and I'll do a freestyle. So like at this point, I was in Sac. I cut the music off. I jumped off the stage and I got onto the barrier. And I started doing my freestyle. There's like 4 or 5 people here and like 2 people there. They're singing along with the acapella.
So they knew it.
And they knew it. I'm like, what the fuck, fam? That was a big moment. I was like, damn, bro. Like I have it in the vlog footage.
Yeah.
The vlog I'm gonna drop. And like,
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, Sac, respect, blah, blah, blah. And I put the mic up and people are going crazy. I'm like, that was a clicking moment. Like, yo, this shit's possible. Like, for real.
Was that one of the moments where you came back to your team and like, yo, we got to tour. Like,
Yeah.
we got to touch the road. Like, we're not tapping into these markets that we have fans and like we got to touch the ground.
We have, I didn't know, like I have these fans I didn't know about. And like, not only that, being on that tour, when I got back and I looked at my analytics, I was like, every city that, like when we did the New York show, I remember looking at Spotify and I'm like, yo, New York just went all the way up. So I'm like, yo, it really did something.
So you saw the importance of groundwork. Like, that's why these artists go on like these 100-city tours with an artist who's bigger than them to build that fan
Especially
base
if
up. It's really,
feel
there's
like-
no cheat code for that. You kind of got to do that shit.
I feel like if you're talented too, because it's like, okay, yo, you could come out and people are watching.
Yeah,
you
but
and
if you're
just
shit,
like-
you're shit.
Yeah.
But if you garnish a new fan in every city, 10 new fans, you're organically
It really
gonna grow.
does work. That's what, going back to the labels, it's like the label, if they prioritize you, they're in a position to be like, yo, we know you're gonna pop. We're gonna put
push
you
the button,
on
yeah.
this tour. That's where it's beneficial. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you really get a fan base from that shit, you know?
I want to talk a little bit about, I feel like a common theme in your music is kind of like being doubted. like having a little bit of chip on your shoulder, like you feel like people didn't necessarily like believe that you're gonna do what you're doing right now? Where does that come from?
I don't even know. I guess it comes from the sheer fact of people doubting, you know? Like when they see music, like going back to like the family that doubted me.
Yeah.
Being maybe at school, like teachers, a lot of teachers were like, being in high school, a lot of teachers were like, yo, you're not gonna do this, you know? They didn't really see the vision, like, oh, you're really gonna do that? Like why aren't you coming to class? And I'd be like, yo, I'm doing this. Obviously, like as a teacher, like, yo, this young kid's not coming to class, he's going to school. You're gonna tell them like, come to class more, but they put it in a way where it's like, yo, you really think you're gonna make music? You know, so that just added to it. And like, when I write my music, I just like to write about what's going on. So I guess it was just one of those topics. It was like, yo, being doubted was always there. It
was a part of your your story.
I'm sure as I grow as an artist, it's gonna be less and less of.
As you show and prove.
Yeah, and like as I get to where I want to go. But I feel like, you know, when I listen to music, I like listening to music like that too, because it just gives you a certain feeling of like, you know what I mean? Like motivation. So there's like
people didn't always know this guy was gonna be the guy.
Yeah.
Like people didn't see that in him. He seen it in himself,
Exactly.
which is something that you must obviously see in yourself to continue to do the shit that you're doing right now.
Yeah, like you gotta believe in yourself before anybody, you know? Like Meek Mill, for example, a lot of his music is like inspiring and it's motivational. So there's definitely like there's a lane for it, you know?
Recently, I did a wrap-up show. We did it with Friday and Nana Goody. And I think Friday shouted you out for, I think like prediction 2020.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be standout artist 2020.
He did Lyricist of the Year too. Shout out to Friday.
And Lyricist, for sure. Shout out Friday, 100%. And then I interjected and said lyrically that I feel like you're one of the nicest in the city doing it. But what I said, and we talked about this a little bit in the DM, is that I feel like the second that you become like more vulnerable and personal with your music is the second where where it's gonna resonate with like the world, you know? And I felt like that's one thing that me as a fan would like to hear from your music, and something that I respected, that because artists are sensitive.
For sure, yeah.
So I already know how that goes.
But
I respected that your response was kind of like, yo, bro, I'm open. I'm not like sensitive. I'm open to the criticism, and you know, like it wasn't like a diss thing. And you know, as a man, now we're sitting here doing an interview.
Yeah, like look what it came to. Yeah. I think in the industry you gotta have thick skin. Like, regardless of the industry, I think that I don't really let certain things affect me, even if it's coming from like a negative standpoint. But watching that video, it was more like you're giving your critique on it, you know? So I didn't take no offense to it. And like, as I told you in the DM, I'm like, I got so much music, and I told you when I got here, I'm like, yo, I got so much music that I haven't dropped yet.
Is that a thought that you ever had yourself, or is that a critique you ever heard before? Or something that you ever thought you wanted to do more of? Or
I've heard it a lot where, yo, you need to get more personal, you need to be more, you need to like hit people more, you know what I mean? And like, that's why I have songs that I haven't released yet. Just because I was like, yo, fuck, I don't know if I want to even go this deep, you know? And letting people into my life of what I've been through.
It's a decision to make.
Yeah, it's because it's like, yo, it's not just us, you know? It's not just 10 people in the room. It's like, once it's out there, you know? And you really are vulnerable to like everything. And it sparks the conversation, like your name's in rooms that you've never stepped in yet. But that's what you take as an artist. It's like people are gonna talk about you, good or bad. So going into 2020, like, I have all these records that I haven't dropped yet. And like, even before watching that video, that's why I hit you up about it, because I'm like, even before hearing that and all that, like my plan was to go into the new year with these soul samples and me on these soul sample beats just rapping about content that makes sense, you know? Like I was telling you, I have that one record and it's about death. It's just about dying. And like, at the end of the day, we're all gonna die, and we all know that. But I think people that have like experienced death, like to a close person, to a loved one that's close to them, when they hear the record, it's really gonna resonate with them. Because I just speak about everything, like how funerals are so depressing, and how like when I die, I want people to celebrate my funeral. It's like really like, yo, you listen to it, you're like, fuck, fam. Like, even when I listen to it sometimes, I'm like, yo, what am I saying, dog? I'm just going hella deep into it. But I think that like this year, I want to get more personal and more away from like the like, how do I put it? Like away from the ordinary rapper.
Yeah, like my exact words I said is, I don't want to hear too much of AR Paisley rapping about rapping.
Rap, yeah.
Like I want to hear him talk about his pain and his story, because I feel like his rap, he already proved to us that he's technically one of the best rappers. We can't argue that. But now it's like, okay, but now once he proves what he's rapping about,
Where
it's
can you
also
go from here? Yeah.
one of the content-wise is on a level of someone who's hitting you in your heart. You can't deny that. So that's what I want to say. And I felt it was important for me to say that, like, because that's how I honestly feel about your shit. That you're technically one of the dopest. And the second that you become vulnerable, which again is not an easy thing to do. Like even I've heard Drake, because he's arguably one of the most vulnerable people in his music, say that with that comes real life issues. Like when I'm talking about what I didn't feel my dad was there for me, that causes a real rift between me and my dad. Or I said I didn't feel like my mom could have did this. I'm talking about real people. So once you start talking about real life
Especially
situations
family shit, you know?
family, like I felt like this person could have done more. That's not just a song.
Yeah.
That's my life. So he kind of said,
And then other family hears it. Like that's another reason I
yeah,
dropped a lot of records.
it's not that simple. I get that.
It's too personal, but I think this is the career I chose, and it's like to really go far, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But going back to what I was saying about being like an ordinary rapper, like I feel like the hip hop scene has changed where the sounds are forever changing and shit. But I still look at somebody like Cole and Kendrick. Like when you talk about who's the best rapper in today's day and age, it's still like Cole, Kendrick, Drake. You know what I mean? But they're not really like with all that Instagram shit and like going viral
At all.
So I'm like, yo, it's possible to be one of those rappers, like, because the songs that I haven't dropped, if I were to like compare them to somebody's sound, it would be like more on like the J. Cole, Kendrick side. You know what I mean? As opposed to like the Gunnas and the Babies.
Is it ever tempting for you to go more the other side because it's like it's an easier sell?
I wouldn't say it's easier, but it's more of like it's the popular sound.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, but at the same time, I feel like it's saturated. But if you could do it well, it's gonna go. Or like you could do a gimmick well, you're gonna go viral.
Yeah.
And you can't even hate, like, yo, if the gimmick works and you're going viral, you're feeding your family, you're putting food on the table, and you did it through this.
But like you said, the top guys who kind of did that slow grind and that slow climb didn't take that route.
They didn't take that route, and I don't think I'm gonna take that route. I want to I'll show you some of the records after.
Yeah, 100%. We'll play that shit.
They're more just, they hit home more. They're like rap, like real rap. There's a little bit, I'm experimenting with the melodic shit, but I would say it's more like Cole, Kendrick, like just, you're talking about real shit and you're addressing real issues, and like, that's why you see Kendrick winning Grammys. Long term for me, obviously long term for any rapper would be like, yo, get up on that Grammy stage.
Because he's making impactful records.
Yeah.
It's not like a popcorn record where it's fly by night. It was hot for a couple months, but no one's talking about it in a few years, or it didn't impact people's lives. Kendrick's getting Grammys because he's making like records that dictate social change and fucking make people cry. Like, those kind of records are the ones that are gonna get the Grammy.
And I think that's my lane. Like it takes a while.
That lane makes the most sense for you, because I know you have the capability to make that kind of music, because I know your rap skill. Like I said, so once the content matches that, fam, it's a rap. I wanna go into Timeless. So I think that was it October? Maybe around that time? Sometime.
It was around that time, yeah.
Early fall.
I think it was October.
You dropped Timeless. Did you put that out as an album? That's your first album, EP? How did you label that? It's kind of blurry in these times.
It's
like a project or whatever.
I labeled it as a project. When I put it up on socials and when I talk about it, I just call it a project.
Why the name Timeless?
So I'll tell you the whole, like, I had all the records. Like, I had like 30 records. I like kind of narrowed it down to like 20 and then narrowed it down to like 15 and eventually I had 11. And then I had the cover too. So I had everything done. I just didn't have the name. And we were just brainstorming and shit. And I was watching my We Love Hip Hop interview. And I said something about being timeless. I think Friday asked me a question. He's like, yo, what's your goal long term? And I was like, yo, I just want to make timeless music. And that word just stuck out. I'm like, I like the word. Like it sums up AR Paisley, you know? Timeless. Like it adds to the branding. Like I want to make timeless music. I want to have timeless merch. I want to be a timeless person. I want this interview to be timeless.
You're here for the long term.
Exactly. Like you could watch this interview like 40, 50 years from now and be like, I'm still the same person. Like this is timeless. There's no expiration date.
And the message will still resonate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then.
Just being real. Cause like, it's not like it's a gimmick where like, 10 years later, I'm like, yo, I just did that obviously because I was trying to pop. It's like not like that, you know?
That's what I was at the time.
Exactly. So I think that Timeless just summed up not only just the project, I think Timeless sums up me as an artist and me as a person and what I want to stand for. So I just thought it was the perfect name.
You guys had billboards up and shit. That was all done independently, like in-house?
Yeah, independently.
Why did you feel it was important to do that? Was it like a statement piece? Was it for recognizability? What was the thought behind that?
It was definitely for, so I got one right on Paisley, like right, Paisley's like right here, like right behind it.
That's different.
I wanted to do that mainly for my grandparents to see and like, for like my family to be like, cause you know when people are older, they don't really know whether like, I could say, yo, I'm doing this, I'm doing a show, I'm going on tour.
Yeah.
You're like 70, 75, you don't really know like.
They don't know the scope of it.
Yeah.
They can't like put like, you can't be like, no, I have 300,000 streams and like, the fuck does that
I have like this much on YouTube, I have this much on Instagram. They're like,
cool. Like put them in a magazine, they might be like, oh.
yeah,
like,
you know, or TV if you're on CP24 type shit, like randomly, you know?
Yeah, facts.
So that one was more for like everybody that, like even that plaza that it's in, there's like a pizza store. And that pizza store is like, we used to just sit at the pizza store and just freestyle and like fucking smoke and just talk shit, hustle and just do random shit in front of that pizza store. So those 3 guys that own that pizza store, they're always there. They've seen us grow from like, you know what I mean, like 10 years old to now. They saw the billboard and was like, damn.
That like, must hit different for them.
Yeah, they're like, yo, like they were like genuinely like, yo, I'm proud of you, you know?
Yeah, of course, man.
So like it was a statement for everybody that's been a part of the journey, like, yo, we're getting there, you know? For everybody a part of that area of like, yo, just like, yo, fam, like somebody from here is really making noise. So that was the reason for that. I even climbed up on it.
Did a picture and shit?
We got a ladder and I shot a video up on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, fuck, fam, it's just crazy. We walked by that billboard like fucking for 12 years, you know what I mean? And now I'm on it, you know? Like
that must be inspiring also for the kids from the area, man. To know like, yo, this guy was in the exact same place as us. He has a billboard here. Like for a kid, that's like surreal. Like it's the same kind of thing as like seeing now a brown rapper. It's like you're making it, once you see someone from where you're from or who looks like you in a place that is in a place that they weren't before, you didn't think was attainable, it makes it real for you. Like you hear a lot of sports people be like, our actors, I didn't think it was possible until I seen so-and-so. And then I was like, oh, I can do that too. So who knows, there might be the next rapper from Paisley on the way up right now.
Even from like a business, I wouldn't say a business standpoint, but like what Paisley is, like I want it in the long run to stand for like to inspire and innovate the younger generation, the next generation. You know what I mean? Because I know how much, when we talk about culture, you think like, yo, where we're from. But I know how much like hip hop culture influenced me as a person. And like I'm sure that's why we could relate on so much shit. We might not be from the same country, we might not be from the same area, but we both grew up on hip hop culture.
That's a commonality that's gonna bridge the gap.
Exactly. Like even with my cousin, it's like, yeah, we're from the same place, but we also were raised on hip hop culture. We were raised on the same artists and shit. And we know how much like influence it has. Like these rappers and artists, they had more influence on me than the teachers at school. You know what I mean? Like,
and even sometimes it has more influence in our ethnic culture.
Yeah.
Like that's a culture,
for sure.
even
for
sometimes
me,
that takes precedent over my ethnic culture because that's the culture that I lived and breathed 24 hours a day. Not just at home when I'm eating my food or whatever. Like that was it.
You're just a fan and like, so we know how much like a fucking artist can influence us, you know, especially as a youth. Like, yo, you really look up to these guys on a different level and like, you're listening to them. It's different. Like you really put them in your headphones and you're just listening to them, and it soaks in. So it's like, if you're really saying the wrong shit, it could sway a youngin like the wrong way, down the wrong path. And it's like I'm sure I'm guilty of it too, of saying shit in my records that obviously youths will listen to it and be like, yo, I want to do this, but it's like this is just real life. I'm just that goes back to being more vulnerable, like reflecting on it now, you know, reflecting on, oh fuck, should I have done that? Or put it in a story format type shit. So, yeah, that billboard, going back to the billboard was hella important.
What are you most proud of?
Like musically?
Generally.
I think one of the main things is just sticking to what I wanted to do, like musically, you know? Not having the regret of, yo, I wanted to do this and I didn't, you know? I always think about that, like, yo, fam, fuck, yo, like, what if I didn't do it? I definitely would be like, I don't know what I'd be doing. Maybe doing construction, maybe being like, might have been in school, might have still been hustling, might have, like, who knows, you know? But I definitely, if I wasn't doing this, I'd definitely be in a position of, yo, I got bare regret.
That coulda, shoulda, woulda type shit.
And the older I got, it would have been gotten worse. Where I would have been that 40-year-old sitting watching TV, like, yo, that could have been me, bro. Trust me, you guys.
You don't know. I used to fucking.
You know, and we all know those guys that are
all know
old
the
as
coulda,
fuck and they're
shoulda,
just
woulda
like
been,
salty. And like, oh, you think you can rap? Blah blah blah. Like,
I want to go into that. I think that's a very valid point. Like, talk a little bit about points in your career, even maybe up to now, where you're like, yo, fuck this shit, but then you kept going. Like, do you ever have those moments where you're like, honestly, man, did you have those early? Like, talk about those times for the kid watching this that might be like in his first 6 months that might say like, it's just not working out. Like, fuck this.
So times where I wanted to stop. I think like when I wrote letters, I never been to the point where I was like, yo, I'm actually done, you know? I never gotten to that point where I'm like, even hella close to it. I've had days where I was like, yo, like, fuck, fam, what if it doesn't work out?
Yeah, like having some sort of doubt because it's real. This is a real life.
I always think that, like, yo, what if it doesn't work out? This shit's not promised.
No.
I could fall off tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, something can come out. That's why it's so fucked being an artist, because, like, you're already in such a vulnerable position because so many people know you, and somebody could throw dirt on you right now, and even if it's true, it could be a lie. You know what I mean? It could just surface, and it's like I always have those moments where I'm like, fuck, yo, maybe I don't want to be that guy where like people talk about me all the time. Maybe I don't want to be going on tour for endless days and, you know what I mean? Like partying all the, like, I wouldn't say partying, but like doing shows and doing after parties.
The rapper lifestyle.
Yeah, that whole lifestyle. I have those days where I'm like, fuck, fam, I don't even know if I could handle it.
But then you see guys like Kendrick, who doesn't necessarily subscribe to that lifestyle. Gets his bag, goes the fuck home,
goes to his wifey.
Doesn't post nothing.
Yeah.
You don't see him on TMZ. Like, I feel like people who live that lifestyle make a conscious choice. You don't have to be in the club every night. You don't have to fucking be the rapper fucking drinking all the time or high all the time. You can get your bag, or like an Eminem, do a tour for like 60 days out of the year, and just kick it at home, and never crack to nobody. I think it's a choice. But at the same time, it's a real life decision, because realistically, once you make the decision to be an entertainer, there are sacrifices that you're gonna have to make naturally. If you get to that goal that you're trying to get to.
Yeah, like you can't go to the mall.
Yeah, there's things that you give up.
You have kids, you can't
always see your kids. You're gonna have to sacrifice a lot of time if you want to get to that space where you are Kendrick now, who can do that.
Yeah.
Because there's probably months where he couldn't see his loved ones and his people, but
now he's taking his time to just, fam. And everything you do is for the public.
Facts.
You fuck up. Like when you're a regular person, you just fuck up and your fam knows, your friends know you fucked up.
You're a public figure now.
You guys forgive me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You fuck up in the spotlight, it's like...
It could ruin you. It could end you.
It's done, yeah. Like people might never forgive you. People might talk about it for the rest of your life. But it's like, I think it's worth it when you're really passionate about the music, you know? And you know how much of an impact your music makes on people, you know? It's like, that's the more important thing. It's like, I chose to do this because I want to do something that I love for the rest of my life, which is make music and, you know what I mean, be in this industry. So that's the main thing, that even when I have doubts of like, yo, do I really want to do this? Should I stop? I always just go back to like, bro, like, I'm not going to be happy doing anything else. And like I want to put happiness before anything, before money, before comfortable, like being comfortable. Like I want to be happy, and like making music makes me happy, you know? So it's like, fuck it.
That should always be the foundation.
Exactly, yeah.
Before monetary goal. Like I think that's the right way to think of things. What's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear. You know, first, before, like when I was younger, like not younger, but when you experience certain things as a youth, like I experienced certain things as a youth that made me fear death, you know? I was like, yo, I don't want to die. And then I read this book, 50th Law, and the whole book's about fear. It's about how, like, I don't know if you read 48 Laws of Power, but it's about all these laws that, laws of power and shit. And basically the 50th law is the 50th law of power, which is fear, how to use fear to your advantage. So in that book, it says like, once you overcome the fear of death, nothing else really seems that scary, you know? So that really stuck with me, because when I was reading, I was like, fuck, fam, like, we're all gonna die regardless, you know?
Yeah. No way around
I might die tomorrow, I might die in 100 years, I might die in between, like, No matter when it is, it's promised. That's it. That's the only thing that's promised.
So why even focus on it?
Yeah. So then I kind of went through that transition when I was 20. I was like, yo, fam, like, if I'm going to die, like, let me just come to terms with it, whatever. And I got over that fear of, like, fuck it, we're not going to be here forever. And that's why timeless is another, like, thing that I want to stand for. And that's why music's so important to me, because, like, music lasts forever.
Yeah, when you're dead and gone.
Regardless, of any situation, like, so, after I got over the fear of, like, dying, I was like, fam, nothing else really, like, was that scary to me, because I was like, yo, that's the ultimate fear that we all have, So, like, after that, I was like, it helped me conquer a lot of things, Like, going on stage wasn't that scary anymore, because I was like, yo, fuck it, fam. If I fuck up, I fuck up. These people might see it. Some people might still fuck with me. Like, regardless of any situation, it's like any other fear just seems so minuscule after that point, So I would say my biggest fear was death at a point, but once I got over that, every other fear just seems minuscule now. It's like, all I think about is just progressing as a human and shit, you know what I mean?
So, who would you say that, at this point in your career, that you make music for?
I'm still in, like, a transition, like, period as an artist. I think that the music that I'm gonna release, though, this year, I'd probably be making music for people that, like, appreciate music on a different level, like, really music fans that know that, like, yo, there's some songs, like, a real music fan, I feel like, listens to music for a different purpose. They listen to it to feel something, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's what I make music for people to, like, connect with me and, like, they're going through a rough day, they know that one song they could put on and be like, all right, I'm banging this, Or, like, you're happy, you could play one song that...
Like, music that evokes emotion.
Yeah. I know I listen to music when I listen to, like, some Nipsey records.
Yeah.
Or I listen to, like, Meek Mill. Like, I'll be going to the gym, I'll listen to Meek Mill because it motivates me. I can listen to Pac when I'm, like, really in that, yo, I want to make some changes in my
Introspective
life.
type of fucking...
Exactly, yeah. So people that really want to, like, feel music and, like, music fans, I would say,
Dope.
Like, to the core.
Well, fuck, fam. I just want to say that we at Cash Feelings, we're big supporters.
Appreciate that.
We're rooting for you. I'm excited to hear some new music. We'll play some shit. And I'm just looking forward to what you do in 2020 and beyond, man. So
Facts, man.
When the new project's done, we can come back and have that conversation
Facts.
about
I'll
the
be
new
back
shit.
for sure. And like I said, I appreciate what you're doing as, like, a platform for the city. Like we were saying, the city doesn't have a lot of platforms. So this is, like, it's, like, really pioneering the game, pioneering the industry, So, yo, I appreciate what you guys are doing,
Appreciate
too.
that. This is Rich Noir. Cash Feelings is on the ones. Bow.